Hey guys, it's Chris. From the adorable but dangerous slow loris all the way to the little wolverine, plus some animals you would never expect, here are 10 cute animals that are deadly. Number 10. Tasmanian Devil. It should go without saying, the real-life Tasmanian Devil is one of the cutest animals ever. Even more adorable than the namesake Looney Tunes character. Forget koalas and kangaroos, Tasmanian devils are the cutest creatures down under. They kind of look like bear cubs, but even more endearing. But don't let their cuddly look and demeanors fool you. Tasmanian devils are deadly beasts. These are some of the most aggressive animals around, and they weigh less than 30 pounds. Tasmanian devils aren't friendly, they aren't sociable, they live alone, and they only come out at night to cause trouble. In fact, they aren't even cuddly. Their fur is coarse and uncomfortable to touch. Tasmanian devils also kinda stink. They have a scent gland that they use to mark their territory, and it smells repulsive. To give you an idea how fiercely aggressive they were named Tasmanian devils because the early settlers in Australia could hear their blood-curdling shrieks at night, and it made them think of demons screaming in the dark. When the Tasmanian devil feels threatened, they'll go into a fit of rage, baring their teeth and emitting a loud, frightening noise. But they don't spin in wild circles like the cartoon character. This harmless-looking creature is actually vicious and aggressive, and seriously deserves to be called a devil. Number 9. Slow loris. Almost every list of the cutest and deadliest animals in the world is bound to include the slow loris. It's a nocturnal animal that will make your heart melt with its big brown eyes. It's practically begging for a hug and a cuddle, but you might want to think twice before picking up a slow loris. They're incredibly poisonous. The slow loris has a venomous bite that can cause you to go straight into anaphylactic shock. You could even die. And it gets its poison from the strangest place. The slow loris has a venom gland inside of its upper arm, and it licks this gland, mixing its venom with its saliva before chomping down on an enemy. It's a weird self-defense tactic, but it works. The unfortunate thing about the slow loris being so cute is that a lot of people try and keep them as illegal pets. And not only is this a bad idea because the slow loris can kill you, but it's also a bad idea because it's dangerous for the animal as well. They're super close to extinction and are actually threatened thanks to the illegal animal trade. They don't survive well in captivity, no matter how cute they are. Can you imagine having a slow loris or any other exotic animal as a pet? I would never keep something that dangerous in my house personally, but some people do love their exotic pets. Do you know anyone who has a strange or unique pet? Let me know what animal they have in the comments below, and after you're done with that, remember to subscribe if you haven't already. If you want to keep seeing informative videos just like this one, you just have to subscribe. Number 8. Moose. When you think about cute animals, you probably don't think about the moose, but they deserve way more respect in terms of adorable creatures. Sure, they're absolutely enormous, and yeah, moose on the roads can cause a lot of fatalities every year. But have you ever stopped to look at a moose, especially a baby moose? They're super innocent and sweet. However, the little baby moose grows into a dangerous adult moose. According to How Stuff Works, moose wound more people every year in Alaska than grizzly bears and black bears combined. The big difference between moose and bears is that bear attacks end in death more often, whereas moose don't typically kill anybody. That's because moose aren't naturally aggressive. They have a passive attitude and mostly hang out and munch on grass and tree bark. They even eat trash in Anchorage in the wintertime when there isn't much grass around. They won't attack for no reason, but you shouldn't approach a moose if you see one. It will almost certainly be taller than you, and one misplaced kick from a gentle moose could do some irreversible damage. To discourage people from starting moose incidents, you can actually face 1 year in prison for feeding a moose in Alaska. Number 7. Wolverine. The wolverine kinda looks like that Tasmanian devil, but it might be even more adorable. The wolverine is like a ferocious mix between a weasel and a honey badger, and according to CBC, they actually are technically weasels. Wolverines are the largest member of the weasel family that live on land. And oddly enough, giant otters take the spot as the biggest type of weasel ever, but they're marine animals. While they are adorable themselves, wolverines are also charming but deadly. While you're unlikely to ever see one in the wild, if you do accidentally corner one, it would be a really bad move. They're about the size of a small dog, and they have claws like cats and aren't afraid to tear you apart. You probably wouldn't die, but it would still be a pretty ugly encounter. If an animal is killed in a fight with a wolverine, it would probably try to eat it. They're notorious for eating anything and everything. They'll eat plants, dead animals, live animals, and literally anything else that's edible. Their teeth are strong enough to easily chomp through bone. If you've ever been curious about where wolverines live, they typically hang out in the Canadian wilds, which explains why the superhero Wolverine from the X-Men comic books is also Canadian. Number 6. Pfeffer's flamboyant cuttlefish. What a name! It's as flamboyant as the animal itself. There's a lot of talk about these blue-ringed octopuses being one of the cutest and deadliest animals, but the Pfeffer's flamboyant cuttlefish deserves some attention too. This tiny cuttlefish has 2 arms and 8 tentacles, and it's one of 3 known cephalopods that are venomous. When threatened, this tiny sea monster will shoot ink to confuse predators and try to escape. And when it's hungry, it'll use its tentacles to catch prey and then feast on them with its beak. As for their toxins, it's actually their flesh that's poisonous. The only way you could die from one of these is by eating it. Still, it's a deadly little critter. One of the most interesting things about the Pfeffer's flamboyant cuttlefish is that it has something called a cuttle bone, which it uses to maintain buoyancy. But they don't actually swim, they just float, and they use their tentacles to walk along the ocean floor. Marine life truly is some of the strangest on planet Earth. Number 5. Gila monsters. There are over 4,600 species of lizard on the planet, but one of the cutest and most dangerous is definitely the Gila monster. Just look at its adorable orange and black skin and its long yellow nails. Or how about the way its purple tongue slithers out of its mouth? It almost looks like it's smiling when it flicks its tongue. But aside from being super cool, the Gila monster is volatile. When threatened, the Gila monster will open its mouth and hiss at you. And if you don't run away like you should, the Gila monster will clamp down on your arm or leg, whatever it can get its teeth into, and it just won't let go. In the wild, they'll keep their victim chomped inside their jaw for up to 15 minutes, and all the while, it's chewing and slowly injecting venom straight into those open wounds. Getting bitten by a snake is a treat in comparison to this drawn-out torture. Even if you try to lift the Gila monster up, it would just bite harder to stay on. The only way to get the lizard off is to dunk it underwater. Luckily, the bite of the Gila monster is not typically lethal, but yes, it is extremely painful. You'll probably vomit, grow weak, come down with a fever, have trouble breathing, and even faint. It really just goes to show you that the best thing you can do when you encounter any animal in the wild is to just leave it alone. Number 4. Leopard seal. Leopard seals are the dogs of the sea. They're absolutely adorable, especially when they're lounging in the snow or slapping their bellies with their flippers. They zip through the water looking all innocent and friendly. But leopard seals are actually savages, violent savages, that will attack anyone and anything and try to eat them with their terrifying teeth. As reported by PBS, Gareth Wood nearly lost his life to a leopard seal. It happened after an Antarctic expedition to the South Pole. After his escape ship sank and he got stranded with the rest of his team in Antarctica, Gareth was forced to hike across the ice. It was during this hike that Gareth was stalked by a crazed leopard seal. It followed him from under the ice. It was when Gareth came to a thin patch and tested it with his foot that the seal exploded from below like a monster from a horror movie. The monstrous leopard seal clamped down on his leg and tried to pull him down into the icy waters. This would have been one of the scariest things I could ever imagine. Luckily, Gareth's friends came to the rescue just in time and kicked the seal until it let him go. But let this be a warning. Even though leopard seals appear to be like legless, smiling dogs, they are definitely not our friends. Number 3. Chimpanzee. Not everyone thinks chimpanzees are cute, but a lot of people do. When they're small, chimpanzees are up there with lemurs as some of the cutest tree-swinging animals in the world. As infants, they're needy, super affectionate, curious, and an absolute joy to be around. There's nothing better than bottle feeding a baby chimp. The danger comes when they're grown though, and they do grow fast. Chimpanzees are uniquely intelligent and ridiculously powerful. By 5 years old, a chimpanzee is going to be stronger than most humans. They also begin to turn destructive and angry, kind of like a teenager. They absolutely hate being told what to do. Those who have chimps as pets can attest to their sudden bursts of anger. It's not uncommon for a chimp to take off its owner's fingers with a single bite or do some serious damage by beating them up. I would think twice before messing with a chimp. Number 2. Otter. Otters are great animals and look as friendly as can be, so what's not to love? They live both on land and in various rivers, lakes, and streams in many different environments. They have webbed feet, thick brown fur, and they look super cute when they're torpedoing through the water. With their long whiskers and funny little arms, they're up there as one of the cutest animals in the world. But otters can be mean. A full family of otters can take down a large reptile like an alligator if it comes down to it. And while they are mostly docile and peaceful creatures who hunt snakes and fish, they can be dangerous. You probably won't be randomly mauled by a group of otters, but if you confront one, it could definitely do some damage. They grow to be around 4 feet long and about 30 pounds. With an otter's muscly body and sharp claws, it can easily overpower your dog or child, and it can definitely take a chunk out of you. Otters can also transmit rabies, so even if you walk away with nothing more than a scratch, you would need a shot to avoid going rabid from an otter encounter. It just goes to show, don't judge a book by its cover. Number 1. Beaver. This is one of the most intense animal stories ever. Beavers are cute and cuddly critters with their flappy tails and brown fur, but did you also know that they're murderers? As reported by USA Today, a curious fisherman in the European country of Belarus stopped to take a picture of a beaver while on a fishing trip. And who could blame him? Anyone who spotted a cute beaver minding its own business would want to take a picture. The man crept up, went to get an up-close shot of the beaver, and it bit him to death. The beaver literally launched itself at the man, chomped down on his thigh, and severed an artery. The man bled to death before there was anything that could be done. And it's no wonder. A beaver's teeth are able to bite through trees. They literally spend their days gnawing down trees and building dams. So a human thigh is nothing to the mighty and ridiculously adorable beaver. So, which of these animals do you think is the cutest? Definitely let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. We'll see you again soon for another awesome video.